about like...
Good morning, class. How was lunch?
Okay.
Good. Was good? Today our objective is, who wants to read it? No? Okay.
Differentiate between primary and secondary sources regarding American Indians.
You guys understand everything? Any questions? I know you guys, I was hearing, yeah?
Differentiate.
Differentiate, okay. Differentiate means just basically break the word down. Difference, you know the word difference, right? So the difference, you're trying to find the difference between secondary and primary sources. That's the whole point. And I know you guys, do you guys know what primary sources are or no?
No.
No. Okay.
I've heard of it.
You've heard of it? Yeah. Before everyone's comfy, everybody has to get up and form a circle. Well, everybody's played telephone, right? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. I know it's a whack game to play in parties, but
I love telephone.
do you want to start? Think of anything to say and then we'll go this way.
Okay.
Okay? When you're ready, go. Oh, he said we're learning about jelly today? Is that what we...
I said, are you excited to learn about American Indians?
Right.
Okay, well, everybody take your seats, so we'll talk about this. Randolph said that are you excited to learn about American Indians today? And I heard, we're learning about jelly today. What Randolph said is not what I heard. He was the first, he was like the event that happened, and Mikey was the primary source that heard him. Like, the first person there who's at the scene, and she's the first person who hears what actually happened. And all of us, we're the secondary people. We heard it from another person. Primary sources seem to be more reliable, right? Because Mikey heard what was actually happening, and heard what was actually happening. And I, the secondary source, heard something totally different. So it's not so reliable. Our lesson today is primary and secondary sources. So you guys we have a little bit of ideas about what they are? A little bit?
Just from the words, we could kind of tell a little something, but we don't know much.
Okay. So, basically a primary source is, that's right, you guys have to remember 3 letters about this. The word pet. Is that easy enough to remember?
Yes.
I have a pet.
You have a pet?
Yeah.
Think about your pet whenever you're talking about primary sources.
Oh, Dolly.
What kind of pet do you have?
I have a cat.
Okay. So, primary sources. P is for place, E is for event, and T is for time. So primary sources happen primary sources, you're at the same place, you're at the same event, and you're there at the same time. And it doesn't, time is a little confusing. It doesn't mean that I was there at 3:07, Randolph said that he played the telephone game and I was there at that time. It can mean that general time frame if you're talking about a broad history.
Okay.
That time can be the time I was there. Yeah, time period, exactly. Like the American Revolution, that time period. If you were there at that time period, it can still be considered a primary source. So what are some examples of primary sources? You guys get it?
Anne Frank's diary.
Yeah. That's perfect. That's really specific. Wow. That's a perfect primary source. What else? So diaries, let's write this down. Let's make a list. Examples. So diary entries.
With a picture or a painting? Yeah.
A what?
Picture.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. But you have to be a little careful. The picture has to be made during that time period of that time, right? Picture, diary, what else?
A newspaper.
Perfect, exactly. Secondary sources are what we were talking about. You're not there at these times. You're not at the place, you're not at the event, and it's a different time, right? So it's kind of like a report about what happened after the fact it happened. There's a really thin line between them. But the primary source, you have to satisfy all these things, right? You have to be at the place, your pet. Think about your pet.
So,
Yeah. So, what are the 5 W questions? You guys know
what, where, when, why?
Yeah, perfect. You guys want to write those? Write those down. If you remember them. I wanted to see if you guys actually understand it. So, can you guys make a primary source up and a secondary source up, or an example of one regarding American Indians? Do you want me to give you some examples first?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So what is this? What is, you don't have to tell me what kind of source it is, what is it?
The picture?
The picture, right? So this is, the person who made it is a Navajo Indian, making it during, I'm not going to tell you. What do you think? What kind of source is this?
Primary?
Why is it primary?
Because it was made during the time period by someone of that time period, so it satisfies the pet and who and when.
There you go. Perfect. Almost time to go. So let's check our little box of questions. So the question says, what type of source is a textbook? What was the example? You said stories, right?
Yeah.
A textbook is secondary source because you're not hearing the sources yourself, the stories, but then it's teaching someone else.
Oh, so you're getting them.
Yeah, so you're getting it. But for all purposes, a lot of people just say textbooks are secondary, and that's all you need to know. Yeah? Homework!
Oh!
I just want you guys to bring me either a primary or secondary source in any form. And you have to write a small paragraph. So like
About the source?
about why you chose the source. So it's a little different. Like what interested you to pick that. What time is it?
It's timeline time.
What time is it?
It's timeline time.
What are we gonna do?
Or the dates.
How are we gonna do it?
Chronologically.
In order to make our timeline, we gotta look at the dates. Put the oldest to the left and the newest to the right and fill in all the slates. What time is it?
It's timeline time.
What time is it?
It's timeline time.
What are we gonna do?
Or the dates.
How are we gonna do it?
Chronologically.
Let's start at the beginning, 'cause that's the thing to do. And don't forget the end, 'cause that's important too. The middle is just as crucial, so put it in its place, and that's how we make a timeline to show our life's greatest days.